Megan Lawson, an economist with Headwaters Economics. Headwaters Economics is a nonprofit, nonpartisan research organization, and I lead our research on housing and demographic change. This presentation highlights our recent research on the impacts of pandemic-era housing price increases, starting with the findings, the implications, and some solutions. In this study, we asked two research questions. First, what places are being affected by the housing crisis, and who in these places is being affected? But first, the where. So the pandemic impacts have been well covered in the headlines in mid-sized cities like Boise, San Diego, Washington, D.C., and resort communities like Breckenridge, and regional tech hubs like Austin. This set of charts show on the top row the value of a typical home since 2000, and on the bottom row the change in typical home value since 2000. And the shape of these charts is similar in communities across the US. Because it's not just those places, those mid-sized cities and resort communities. Unprecedented house price increases have affected zip codes across the country. 45% of Americans, including 144 million people, live in places with unprecedented house price increases. At least half of the zip codes in these 8 states had record-setting increases. And when price increases are this widespread, people have fewer options to relocate affordably nearby. Now for the who. Who are these price increases affecting? So we know that rising house prices affect renters who are vulnerable to displacement in a dynamic market. We looked at how many places with unprecedented price increases were already unaffordable for renters, and the results were staggering. Nearly all the counties, 92%, that had unprecedented price increases also had at least 30% of households paying at least 30% of their income on rent. But we did not find a similar pattern with homeowners. In that case, only 18% of those places that were unaffordable for homeowners experienced record-setting price increases. So, can we blame this all on COVID? No. While unaffordable housing has come to a head during the pandemic, COVID-19 is not solely responsible, but it's the long-term culmination of trends in demographics, in climate-related disasters like wildfire and flooding, low housing supply and a shortage of construction workers that started since the Great Recession, land use policies encouraging or requiring single-family homes, and low mortgage rates all have contributed to the current crisis. So what are the implications of these price increases on communities? First, we know that outlying areas can't absorb the new residents, and the problems spread regionally as the former bedroom communities become unaffordable, commutes lengthen, and sprawl exacerbates. We also know that vulnerable residents are made more vulnerable, as those who are least able to afford higher rents or able to afford to move are further marginalized with substandard housing or homelessness. We also know that first-time home buyers will delay purchasing, postponing the accrual of wealth and exacerbating existing wealth inequality for current and future generations. There are some solutions. While there is no silver bullet, there are opportunities to address these challenges. First, right now we have an opportunity to broaden the stakeholder base. The business community is being affected dramatically, and their voices can be a very influential new group advocating for a range of housing solutions. We also know that piecemeal solutions done city by city aren't enough. We need coordinated efforts across a region to determine the supply needed to apply for state and federal funding sources and to advocate for state-level policies. We also know that market forces will supply only for the highest end, and we need policies to incentivize and require housing that also addresses low and middle incomes. And finally, we need to support programs at the local, state, and federal level that promotes home ownership for first-time and marginalized groups to begin addressing the wealth gap. Thank you for listening. For more details on this study and for related research, visit headwaterseconomics.org.